What we know is that when one system dies, another one pops up to take its place. Gold is, and silver as well, gold and silver is the bridge to hold your purchasing power intact from one currency into the next. And if you have gold, there are opportunities that will present all along the way. Why is it okay for Wall Street to profit from your data? And frankly, the more data that they have on you, the easier it is for them to know how you think and what you want, and then to build those tools to nudge you in the direction that they want without you even realizing it. Most people think that these FinTech apps, this is what they want you to believe, they're about empowerment. I mean, after all, you can do all of your banking right on your phone. You can hold everything right on your phone. That's like amazing. And they are slick tools like there's budgeting apps and payment platforms and digital wallets that give people more control over their money, right? But what if I told you that the entire system was built on your personal data and nudging you in the direction that they want you to go in? And nearly everyone in that pipeline from your data is actually profiting. Of course, not you, but everyone else, well, almost. For years, FinTech companies didn't talk directly to banks. They used middlemen called data aggregators, like Plaid, there's an MX, and I think there's another one called something like Finicity or something like that. And what that does is they grab your account information and transaction history and spending patterns.
For years, FinTech apps didn't connect directly to banks. Instead, companies like Plaid and MX acted as intermediaries called data aggregators. They scraped your account balances, transactions, and patterns, often with permissions buried in fine print. With that data, they created detailed consumer profiles and sold access to them. Banks provided the infrastructure, secure, scalable pipelines, but the real money flowed to aggregators. Wall Street poured billions into these firms, and you got a cool interface. Meanwhile, nearly every actor in the chain profited off your private financial habits, except you.
You gave permission, they didn't even realize it, but you gave that permission, and they built profiles, and then they monetized your life. Now, big banks like JPMorgan Chase maintained the infrastructure to allow it, and they kept the data pipeline secure and stable and, of course, scalable. So the bigger they got, the more data was available for these middlemen to aggregate. And surprisingly, they did it for free without really seeing that other, income model really clearly. But aggregators, it was those middlemen, those aggregators that charged FinTechs and raised billions on Wall Street. And you, the person whose data powered it all, well, you got a very pretty, colorful app to interface with. Woohoo! Now, the big banks, including JPMorgan, is flipping this script. And they'll start charging for access, not to protect you, mind you, that has nothing to do with it, but to profit even more from you because your deposits in their bank that they get to use as their equity, possibly an unlimited amount of time. I mean, if they do it through the city of London, there are no limitations on how many times they can actually use your equity. But it's not enough. It's never enough. No matter how many profits they make from you, it's never enough.
Now, the big banks are changing the rules. JPMorgan Chase and others are starting to charge FinTechs for data access. Not to protect you. No, this is a new revenue stream. Your deposits serve as bank equity, sometimes endlessly recycled in offshore banking hubs like the City of London. This move tightens their control. While you assume your data is safe, it's being monetized, reused, and packaged again and again. The system doesn't ask whether it's ethical. It simply asks how much more it can extract. And if it collapses, you'll be the one left paying the price.
So they get to keep the profits, and if anything goes wrong, you get to pay even more. And what this really means is that your data, your habits, your decisions, your accounts is now a revenue stream. And so when we're looking at this new digital system that we're going into, and for those that have been watching me for a while, you know that the question was, will they be using debt to justify money creation? Or will they be using your purchases to create money? And that, my friends, I believe it has been answered, at least in this period where we have to get rid of all of the debt. It will be your purchases to do it. And because these entities really know all of your habits between the banks and that relationship that you have with them, and your habits on the internet, which obviously you guys know, they're all being tracked. They know how you think. And so they can nudge you in the direction that they want you to go in. And before you know it, you've spent all of your equity. And here we are, 2030, and you own nothing and you didn't even realize it. So what I think you need to be looking at, if you haven't already, is opt in to sound money, not surveillance. Gold and silver don't require aggregators. You don't need to do that GLD ETF. They don't track you. This gold and silver doesn't sell your data or prevent your access. They're yours. You hold them and you own them.
We're entering a financial era where money creation isn't just driven by debt, but by your spending. As more systems become digital, central banks and financial entities can use real-time data to justify creating more currency. Stablecoins and CBDCs may soon accelerate this model. Your purchases become monetary policy. Your habits become economic fuel. These institutions know how you think, what you crave, and when you're likely to buy. With this insight, they guide your decisions, subtly but powerfully. You think you're in control, but often you're being nudged into spending in ways that serve the system, not yourself.
If you don't hold it, including your data, you don't own it. So it makes some sense to build financial tools inside of your community. This is local community. Share that knowledge, offer that support, grow a local exchange system, because let me tell you, when hyperinflation kicks into gear, things get very local for a while. So it's important to create those local relationships now. But in the future, look, we've got to go through a hyperinflationary depression. I'm sorry. It's just a fact. If you are properly armed with a sound money strategy and a sound money foundation, then you actually have the opportunity to grow your wealth and come out the other side of it better. And you be the purchaser. Right? Because you're going to hold your purchasing power intact. Because we know that when one system dies, this is just a result of edging us into a new future monetary system, I should say. And look, it's going to happen one way or the other. But before we can get to a solid circumstance that is backed by sound money, because that's the big fight. We have got to get this in the global monetary system. But you need protection all along the way. So I'm going to encourage you to ask the harder question. If everyone else is profiting from your financial footprint,
what's the alternative? Opting out of surveillance finance. Precious metals like physical gold and silver aren't plugged into data pipelines. They don't need aggregators. They don't track or sell your behavior. If you hold them, you own them. Simple as that. As digital currency systems grow more controlling, communities must prepare, build local networks, create barter systems, establish neighborhood trade and food security. During hyperinflation, economies shrink to local levels. Those with real, tangible assets and strong community support will navigate the transition more smoothly than those dependent on centralized digital systems.
Why aren't you? How about putting a footprint in that will actually matter, not just to you, but to all the generations to come? We have to do this. So local communities, so that you can create a surety in food, water, energy, security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, grow that local community, and shelter, so that you can sustain a reasonable standard of living. But in that wealth preservation piece, what we know is that when one system dies, another one pops up to take its place. Gold is, and silver as well, gold and silver is the bridge to hold your purchasing power intact from one currency into the next. And if you have gold, there are opportunities that will present all along the way. Why is it okay for Wall Street to profit from your data? And frankly, the more data that they have on you, the easier it is for them to know how you think and what you want, and then to build those tools to nudge you in the direction that they want without you even realizing it.
This isn't just about the present, it's about the future. When one monetary system fails, another rises. Historically, gold has been the bridge across collapsing currencies. It holds purchasing power when fiat erodes. As stablecoins gain traction and digital money becomes the norm, visible hyperinflation becomes more likely. Increased money velocity is already happening beneath the surface. Once it bursts into public view, the damage will escalate quickly. If Wall Street can profit from your data, why shouldn't you protect yourself? Own your assets, build local strength, preserve your wealth, and shape a system that works for you, not against you.
So I couldn't find the exact amount that JPMorgan is charging. So we'll kind of keep that open, but this takes it to a new level. Just like the stablecoin, the Genius Act takes the move to the new system. I mean, I really hope we can have this conversation, because I really want it like a two-way conversation. But you have to understand that I believe, and I believe this firmly, I'm going to say 100%, and I'm not giving myself any wiggle room at all. But what the stablecoins will do is they'll justify and usher in the visible hyperinflation, which, just even according to the velocity of money, that's already begun. You just can't see it yet, but this will usher it in, because the more you spend, the more inflation there will be, because the more money there is. And the easier it is to create money, the more money gets created. And then what happens to all that money that's out there? It has less and less and even less value.